I was set on my rival's genes. I wanted the baby, not the dad. Faking drunk, forced kisses, climbing into his bed, feigning amnesia, you name it. But his defenses were airtight, so I had to pin him down again and again. I was working harder than a farm animal just trying to get pregnant and ghost him. Then one day I saw a wall in his house covered with my photos. I ran when I woke up. The same chains he'd once worn were now on me. His eyes were rimmed with red, his usual composure gone, replaced by a raw obsessive look. Can't we just have both? 3 sheets to the wind, I stumbled right into the arms of my nemesis Liam. My hands landed on his waist and started to wander, broad shoulders, narrow waist, firm and strong. I was very satisfied. His voice deepened as he pulled me out of his embrace. Chloe, you want to lose those hands? I let my shoulders slip, revealing the sexy little chamisole under my coat. I kept his face, my eyes misty and alluring, and leaned in close, my nose gently brushing against his. Liam, baby, I'm drunk. Liam was his pet name. In an instant his hands clamped around my waist. His voice was taut, practically grinding the words out. You'd better be. Don't be mad, I cooed, moving closer to placate him. A kiss? Can I have a kiss? While he was still staring in surprise, I whisked off his glasses, held his face, and kissed him. Liam's lips were unexpectedly soft, much nicer than the rest of him. I gave them a gentle lick. I felt him tremble for a moment. It only took a second for my kiss to leave him flustered, his face flushed and eyes shimmering. He looked completely and utterly debauched. It was enough to make a girl want to commit a crime. How could he be so innocent? A soft laugh escaped my lips. As if provoked, Liam suddenly lunged back at me. This time it was savage. He bit my lip, drawing a little blood. Annoyed, I kicked him. His grip on me was relentless. He leaned in, his voice husky in my ear. Chloe, you started this. Liam came from a wealthy family, graduated from an Ivy League school, and had a squeaky clean reputation. I was after his genes. I wanted to have his baby and leave him. I was in it for his genes. He was in it for my looks. Seemed fair. I just didn't expect to hook him with a single kiss. Guess he wasn't as celibate and self-controlled as the rumors made him out to be. We burst through the door of the room. Our coats were long gone, tossed somewhere on the floor. Lying on the bed, I grabbed at his soft hair as my head began to spin. Just as things were getting interesting, Liam suddenly pulled away. Where are you going? I yanked his tie, pulling him back down. My foot slid slowly up his body. Then I pressed it against his taut abs. Trying to run, I challenged him. Liam looked down, his gaze half hidden as he held my calf. I don't have any protection here. That was a surprise, but it was exactly what I wanted. I don't mind. I flipped over and straddled his waist. He blushed and grunted, his expression a mix of pain and restraint. Gently, gently. What do you mean? Gently, I started yanking at his tie. He grabbed my mischievous hands and used the tie to bind them. I'll order some from a delivery service. Seriously, what do you think I seduced you for? You can't just refuse to deliver the goods. So I decided to make a scene, kicking and biting until a vein popped on Liam's forehead. Seeing him struggle to hold back only made me more vicious. I wrapped my arms around him, whining. Honey, he was clearly at his limit. Be good. It'll be quick. Just 10 or 15 minutes. No, I need it right now or I'm going to die. You want it that bad? Liam leaned over me, his Adam's apple bobbing. I threw all shame to the wind. Yes, I want it so bad I could die. Liam suddenly knelt by the bed, his voice dangerously low. Lift up your skirt. Once his delivery arrived and I'd gotten what I wanted, I put my clothes on and prepared to bolt. The moment I stepped out of the bedroom, Liam grabbed my wrist. Leaving? His face instantly darkened. Chloe, are you just playing with me? His voice was laced with anger and something else, something far more dangerous. I suddenly felt a pang of nerves. Looking at his flushed lips, I felt incredibly guilty. Glancing down at the items in his hand, I figured if one time didn't work, I'd just have to try a few more. There was bound to be a slip-up eventually. I threw my arms around him, murmuring, honey, how could you be gone for so long? I missed you like crazy. Liam's deep dark eyes stared straight at me. Is that so? Of course. I moved in to kiss him, but he pinned me against the door instead. The door rattled. A long broad hand covered 2 small clenched ones. Fingers intertwined. A single hand gripped a waist, pulling it back just in time, controlling the rhythm. You were pretty chatty a minute ago. Why so quiet now? I gritted my teeth, refusing to back down. Liam, you just wait. Done with the act. After he carried me back to the bed, I really started to make a scene. My energy was terrifyingly boundless. Well, duh, I couldn't let the whole night be a total waste. But it was all night long. I was a perpetual motion machine. Damn it, does he have to be so damn responsible? When I woke up, Liam was still asleep. I grabbed his hand, snapped a picture of our intertwined fingers, and posted it on my social feed. Sure enough, a few minutes later my dad called. I immediately declined the call. As I shifted, Liam pulled me close, nuzzling into my arms. So clingy. He always acted so cold and aloof and mean. Liam, Liam and I had been at odds since we were kids. The first time we met he stepped on my dress, made me trip and humiliated me in front of everyone. Later when he came to apologize we accidentally witnessed my dad cheating on my mom. The shame of it all dealt a huge blow to my pride and I wanted nothing to do with him after that. In high school someone started a rumor that I had a crush on him. People constantly came up to ask me about it. Then they'd tease us and blow it out of proportion. It just made me hate him more. Then I heard he had a crush on my deskmate and had even slipped a sappy love letter into her desk before he went abroad. Everyone said Liam liked the innocent type, that a vixen like me wasn't his style. The man has no taste. From then on our relationship was basically like fire and water. If I hadn't been after his jeans and his face he wouldn't have had a snowball's chance in hell of getting his hands on me. Liam's arm was now wrapped tightly around my waist. I smirked and out of pure mischief let my hand wander. He suddenly seized my hand, his breathing a little heavy. When he opened his eyes and stared down at me I kicked him right off the bed. The dark fire in Liam's eyes was mixed with a hint of confusion. I walked over and patted his cheek. Don't get so excited, just saying hi. Without his glasses Liam squinted at me. Chloe. I didn't say another word, just grabbed my bag and left. It was already afternoon when I left my studio. I didn't expect Liam to be waiting for me. My assistant came over to gossip. Chloe, who's that hottie? My creditor. With that I sauntered over to Liam and hooked a finger under his chin. Miss me, baby? Liam glanced away, his eyes downcast. You didn't answer my texts all day. Did he have to be so pure? It was making me feel guilty. I immediately leaned in and kissed his cheek. I forgot to check my phone. A kiss to make it all better. Okay. Just then a handsome guy with white blonde hair suddenly appeared with a cake box, grabbing my wrist. His eyes were red-rimmed. Babe, didn't you say you loved me most? Who is he? Isn't this one of the models from my best friend's place? A couple of weeks ago I went to her club to unwind and a bunch of pretty boys swarmed me with that exact line. It was totally flattering. So this must be their standard greeting. He must have thought Liam was one of his colleagues. Liam suddenly loomed over me, his eyes narrowed in anger. Chloe, who is he? A misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. I looked at the handsome guy and froze. What was his name again? The guy wasn't embarrassed at all. He just looped his arm through mine and said in a flirty tone, I'm your boyfriend. Of course, silly you. How could you forget my name? Don't you want your little puppy anymore? The puppy is so sad. Hold on, don't you be sad. I'm in a hurry to have a baby here. Chloe, is the boyfriend something you can just misunderstand? Liam yanked me over by my wrist, his voice cold. Is this fun for you? What do you take me for? Seeing him about to leave I threw my arms around him. Of course I see you as my baby. A flicker of something crossed Liam's dark eyes, but it was only for a second. Then the pretty boy's heart broke. Babe, you don't want me anymore. What about all the good times we had? Dude, are you for real? Liam's face turned cold again. He pulled his arm from my grasp and said, his voice deadly serious. Chloe, I don't do love triangles. I tried to go after him, but the pretty boy let out a howl and latched onto my leg. Babe, don't go. I grabbed him by the ear and hauled him up. Get off me. No, if you don't want your puppy, the puppy will just have to die of a broken heart. Watching Liam's back disappear from view, I kicked the guy. Then go die. Tears streamed down his face as he sobbed like a whistling kettle. Oh my god, what kind of weirdo was this? After a call with my best friend I found out he was her actual little brother. He was just experiencing life at the male model club. Is this some new hobby for the rich? He looked at me with red eyes and began to pour his heart out. Babe, it was love at first sight for me. I was completely unmoved. Stop right there, hard pass. That night I dragged him over to Liam's place to explain. He looked at Liam like a snarling stray dog. I will not give up on pursuing my girl. Slam. Liam pulled me inside and shut the door, leaving him outside. The pretty boy was stunned, then started wailing at the top of his lungs. Babe. Even Liam couldn't help but frown. Are all the models you hire this quality? He's young, in good shape, and he makes me happy. Who cares if he's an idiot? I immediately moved in to kiss him. Not mad anymore, are you? He looked away, his tone nonchalant. When was I ever mad? Now he's playing hard to get. I couldn't make the same mistake twice, so this time I brought some special tools. While Liam wasn't looking I handcuffed him to the bed. I watched as his pale skin gradually flushed an enticing shade of pink, then slowly beaked with sweat. This time getting a baby would be a piece of cake. Liam frowned, about to say something. I didn't let him finish. I'm trying to get pregnant and ghost you here. If you keep doling, how am I supposed to do that? This has to work, I thought. But then the handcuffs broke. Another night's work for nothing. Does his sense of safety have to be this strong? Can't a girl catch a break? The next morning I took a shower and went to get my food delivery. When I opened the door, both the pretty boy and the delivery guy were squatting there. They stared at each other, the pretty boy practically drooling. Hearing the door, he looked up at me, his eyes haggard and empty like an abandoned stray puppy. I was shocked. You didn't wait outside all night, did you? Seriously, is this kid missing a few screws? I quickly called my friend to come get him. Babe, are you abandoning me? He started to lunge for my legs again and I nearly jumped out of my skin. Whoa, calm down. He reluctantly put his hands back in his pockets. Babe, I really like you, just give me a chance. Liam walked out just in time to see this scene. His hair was a mess. After a neighbor complained, Liam had no choice but to let the kid inside. outside. He made himself right at home, grinning as he tore open the takeout and started scarfing it down. Liam's gaze shifted coolly between the two of us. For some reason a chill ran down my spine. I couldn't let the person I just managed to pacify get angry and run off again. What would happen to my baby plans? While I absolutely loathed the idea of marriage, I loved kids. It wasn't a contradiction. And right now I really couldn't think of a better candidate than Liam. I furiously texted my friend urging her to come pick up her little brother. Once he'd eaten his fill, the little prince glanced at Liam and tilted his chin up defiantly. "Hey, you two aren't together, are you?" "What do you mean, hey, that's rude?" He started to look pitiful again, his eyes drooping. "Babe, why are you always taking his side and bullying me?" Liam ignored his provocation and looked at me instead. For a second I had the bizarre feeling that he was waiting for me to define our relationship. That couldn't be right. In his eyes we were just a fling, a moment of passion and pleasure. So I scoffed. "What's it to you? I only like things I can hold firmly in my own hands. I have no interest in something as fickle as emotions. Too much work." When my friend finally came to drag her brother away, he clung dramatically to the doorframe, wailing, "Babe, I won't give up. One day you'll change your mind for me." I smiled sweetly. "In your dreams." Furious, my friend gave him a huge slap across the face. "You embarrassing piece of trash." He looked like the whole world had abandoned him. "Sis, you're my own sister and you won't even help me. Do you want to see your little brother die old and alone?" I just shut the door. The world was finally quiet. Liam was particularly irritable tonight. He seemed completely different from the person I thought I knew. In the middle of everything he went to get a condom, but the box was empty. I'd made sure of that beforehand. We were already halfway there. I didn't believe he could possibly stop and wait for a delivery. Now, seeing my chance, I immediately wrapped myself around him. But then he turned around and pulled out 2 whole boxes from under the bed. I stared at him dumbfounded. "Are you for real?" Liam explained. "I know you have a high sex drive. I ordered these last night. I think you might be misunderstanding my needs. I can put in the hard work, but you can't just let me do it all for nothing." I was furious, slamming my wine glass down on the table. For the last month, even the hardest working ox on the farm has nothing on me. And you know what? He started working out. He's leveling up, but he still won't deliver the goods. Haha, I can't, I'm dying. My best friend Maya collapsed onto the sofa laughing. Let me catch my breath. "No, seriously." Maya started laughing again. "Working out is good, it helps with conception." Haha. I couldn't laugh. I felt like a total sucker. "Hey, but all jokes aside, he seems like a decent guy. At least he's responsible. Maybe you should just make this fake thing real." Before I could answer, a hand shot out from under the sofa, followed by a howl. "No, what the hell?" I leaped onto the sofa in fright. Maya screamed and stomped down hard. "You damn pervert." A familiar voice exploded through the private room. "Ow sis, it's me, your brother. Stop, you're going to break my fingers. I'll be crippled." After a chaotic scuffle, Mia's brother Leo was squatting on the floor with his hands over his head. Maya glared at him, fuming. "You little punk, didn't I tell the manager not to let you in? And what were you doing hiding under the sofa cosplaying a corpse?" He didn't know I snuck in. "Hey sis." Leo started to stand up, but his sister's shout sent him right back down. "Stay down." He looked stubborn. "What's wrong with fighting for love?" His sister grabbed his ear and lectured him. "Leo, stop embarrassing yourself. Stalking isn't romantic, it's psychotic." Leo turned to me with puppy dog eyes. "Since you don't even like him, why can't you give me a chance? I'll be good." I smiled sweetly. "Yeah, why is that? You're a smart boy. I don't need to spell it out for you, do I?" That one line completely crushed him. I've always been a magnet for bad luck and love, probably because of this vixen face of mine. Guys like Leo aren't even the weirdest I've had to deal with. When I was little, my family was reasonably well off, and I had a childhood neighbor who wasn't all there in the head. His family was old money, not like mine, which had struck it rich overnight. He started obsessively pursuing me in middle school. His methods were childish, throwing plastic bottles at me, putting ice cubes down my shirt, stuffing flowers in my desk, and using my textbooks as his personal message board, all to get my attention. It drove me crazy, but my parents were thrilled. By high school, he was acting slightly more human, but I still felt nothing for him. Then on my 18th birthday, without telling me, my parents announced our engagement. I felt like a present being given away the moment I came of age. To make it worse, that went around school telling everyone I was his fiancée. To save face, he'd hint that I was the one who'd shamelessly chased him. I stormed into his classroom, kicked over his desk, and gave him the finger. That just made him more excited. He thought I was trying to get his attention and got even crazier. I swear he had some kind of masochistic streak. I threw a massive tantrum when I got home, and my dad locked me in my room for a week. Fortunately, a bad decision by my brother nearly bankrupted our company. When the guy's parents heard it would take a few million to bail us out, they immediately called off the engagement. The rich kid smugly tried to string me along, wanting to sleep with me. "You're always so high and mighty, right? Always looking down on me." "Well, if you just beg me, I'll have my dad help your family." I beat the crap out of him. When I got home, my dad gave me a harsh scolding and dragged me over to apologize. Given our family's situation back then, we couldn't afford to offend anyone. Maybe because my brother was such a lost cause, he couldn't be relied upon, so they had to rely on me. My dad wanted to use me to marry into a rich family and secure resources. I had just just started college and they were already trying to marry me off while I was still young and had market value. In protest, I started dating 3 different guys a month, going out drinking and clubbing, but all I found was a string of losers. One of them even tried to drug me. Luckily, I found out in time and sent him to the police station, and my dad locked me up for 2 months. He would arrange blind dates for me while simultaneously guilt-tripping me. He'd yell at me, "You've ruined your own reputation. At this rate you won't even be able to find a divorced man in our circle." My brother would apologize with a defeated look. "It's all my fault, I'm useless, I'm sorry you have to suffer." I scoffed. "If you really feel bad for me, then go talk to Dad. What's the point of putting on a show for me? You know you're useless, so why don't you go find a rich woman to marry into her family, have her invest a few million in our business? After all, you've used that face to trick countless girls, you should be good at this." My brother exploded. "Chloe, how can you say that? I'm the only son in the family. If I marry out, our family line ends. Besides, if our family does well, you'll have more standing in your husband's family." I smiled. "Thanks, but I'm not getting married. I can stand on my own 2 feet anywhere." The most unexpected thing was that my mom also pushed me to get married. She was the same woman who would cry in my arms whenever she found out about Dad's affairs, and I was always the one who would go fight for her. She said she loved me most, but now that my brother needed something, she expected me to be the sacrifice. It was because my dad had an illegitimate son and she was terrified the bastard would fight her son for the inheritance. I had just left my friend's model club when I saw Liam standing under a street light by the door. His solitary shadow looked a little lonely. His eyes silently found mine. For some reason, a warm tingling feeling spread through my chest, urging me to run to him. "Liam, baby." I threw myself at him, but he just placed his hands on my shoulders and gently pushed me away. His dark eyes lifted slightly, his voice filled with a hint of resentment. "Am I not enough to satisfy you? You more than are. I mean, you even started working out for me." I took his hand and kissed it gently. "Are you jealous?" He snatched his hand back as if he'd been burned, so I took the opportunity to wrap my arms tightly around his waist. He suddenly grabbed my hand and pressed it against his stomach, his voice low and husky. "I have abs too." That did not sound like him playing hard to get. Then his voice, low and hot, fell right beside my ear. "I can grind too." My face instantly flushed. "Do you have to be so damn seductive, nemesis?" I looked up at him and finally noticed something was off. "Have you been drinking?" He pinched my cheek and bit my lip almost as if in revenge, then declared brazenly, "I'm drunk." Oh hell, opportunity knocks but once. While he was drunk, I coaxed him and tied him up. He was so docile he took off his clothes when I told him to, held out his hands when I asked. This time I tied him up securely and even put a blindfold on him. "Mr. Safety Inspector, I've had it with you. Turns out drunk guys are useless." When I finally untied him, Liam's eyes were red, his wet eyelashes trembled. God, I was such a predator. Drunk Liam was incredibly clingy. I had to kiss and cuddle him for ages before he finally fell asleep. The next morning I woke up and habitually reached for the other side of the bed. Liam was already awake, leaning against the headboard looking at his phone. I don't know if it was because he just woke up or something else, but his expression was so dark it was almost terrifying. "What's wrong?" I reached over to touch his abs and leaned in for a kiss, but he shut off his phone screen, grabbed my wandering hand with surprising force, and got up without a word. "Liam, something came up at the office." His voice was flat, unnervingly cold. The moment the door clicked shut, I sat up in bed, running my hands through my hair in frustration. "He's not tired of me, is he? But it hasn't even been 2 months, isn't that a little fast? I don't even have my baby yet. No, I can't just sit here and wait. Tonight I am tying him up and I'm not giving him any chance to escape." I bought all the necessary tools, but Liam didn't come home that night. When I called, his assistant answered he had gone to Chicago on a business trip with no set return date. It seemed Liam really was tired of me. It wasn't that long ago that he was driving to my studio every day to take me to dinner. Everything seemed to be going so well. Just last night he was drunk and acting cute. Then overnight his attitude toward me did a complete 180. The sudden shift left me feeling a little disappointed. I was both surprised and not surprised. After all, even love can change in an instant, let alone his purely physical desire for me. But I couldn't just let all my effort go to waste, so I immediately packed my bags and went after him. This baby was happening one way or another. It was evening by the time I arrived. I was waiting for Liam by the entrance of a ballroom. I was about to text him when I saw him walking out, a graceful woman by his side. It was my high school deskmate Jessica, his one true love. My steps faltered. No wonder he'd suddenly become so distant. He was saving himself for his first love. Since he had a girlfriend now, my plan to have his baby and ghost him would be immoral. An indescribable frustration surged through me. I couldn't help but curse under my breath. Damn it, I wasted 2 whole months of my life. I should have just tied him up from the start. I'd have my baby by now. He gallantly saw Jessica to her car, then looked up and met my gaze. His eyes froze. I turned and walked away. I was surprised that my first instinct was to run. I should at least explain myself, otherwise it would look like I was here to catch him cheating. Adults should maintain that much decorum. So I forced myself to turn back around and walk straight into Liam's chest. Ow! I rubbed my forehead and glared at him, my words stuck stubbornly defiant. Congratulations, your wish finally came true after all these years. I'm not here for anything, I just. Liam suddenly pulled me into an excited hug. Are you jealous? My voice jumped 3 octaves. Jealous? Why would I be jealous? Liam cooped my face, his thumb brushing my cheek. Then why are you crying? Your eyes are all red. Of course I was crying. I was crying out of rage for 2 months of wasted work. I took half a step back. Mr. Collins, since your heart belongs to someone else, we should probably keep our distance. Liam's expression became unreadable. You think I like her? Isn't she the one that got away? Liam looked like he was about to laugh from sheer frustration. How come I'm the last one to know? So the thing with Jessica was just a rumor. There was no one that got away, which means I still have a chance. Time to get down to business. But for some reason, whenever I brought up getting into bed, Liam's expression would sour. He said he had to visit a temple next month to fulfill a vow and needed to be celibate beforehand to show his sincerity. He also kept dropping hints that it was bad for my health and I should exercise more and think less about those things. So what kind of vow did you make that requires a month of celibacy? Me, be honest, are you impotent or something? Liam completely ignored the jab and started blow drying my hair. The whoosh of the dryer drowned out my words. After my hair was dry, he carried me to bed, knelt beside it, and started drying my feet with a towel. I resentfully pressed my foot against his thigh. This was infuriating. Once I was tucked in, I rolled over and straddled him. He just kissed me, pushed me back down, and said, get some rest. Damn it, I didn't bring my tools. The next day he went to see a client and I wandered around the area. I saw some Buddhist prayer beads, 3 strings for $10. I bought them all, put them on his wrist, and silently mocked him. But then whenever I tried to flirt with him, he'd hold up the prayer beads and start acting like a monk. I had really shot myself in the foot. On my 3rd day in Chicago, I got a call from my junior assistant Chloe. 2 people showed up today saying they're your parents. Got it. I hadn't been home since I moved out and we barely spoke. If I wasn't afraid they'd make a scene at my studio, I wouldn't want any contact with them at all. I sent Liam a voice message and rushed back. I had just walked into the company with my suitcase when my dad stormed over and slapped me. You shameless thing. My colleagues in the studio fell silent at the sound. I thought I would be furious, but my reaction was much calmer than I expected because I no longer held any expectations for him. I was stronger than before. My mom, ever the peacemaker, rushed over to stop him hugging me and shedding a few crocodile tears. Sometimes I really couldn't figure my mom out. She was both pitiful and detestable. I pushed her away, dragged my suitcase into my office, and shut the door. With the door closed, I dropped the act and got straight to the point. What do you want? Just say it. My dad opened his phone and threw it in front of me. I glanced at it. It was filled with pictures I'd posted from the model club, touching abs, holding hands, guys on both arms. It had everything. I pressed a cold water bottle to my face. Aren't I just learning from you? My dad pointed at me and cursed. Chloe, have some decency. It's one thing to fool around in private, but you have to post it for the whole world to see. Do you know what people in our circle are saying about you? You ruined a perfectly good engagement. Every time my mom recommended a blind date, I'd add them, put them in a special group, and periodically share my happy life with them. I didn't even have to say no, they just block me. Perfect. Saved me the time. Dad, do you have too many sons and not enough assets to go around? Are you regretting not having a few more illegitimate daughters? My dad raised his hand to slap me again. Go ahead, hit me. If that hand comes down again, I'm calling the police. You don't want this to get too ugly, do you? Fine, fine, you've really grown wings. I raised you all these years. How much money did I spend on you? Ask yourself, have I ever treated you unfairly? Didn't you have the best of everything growing up? My mom grabbed my hand and started playing good cop. Chloe, we're your parents. We only want what's best for you, to find you a good family. Look, you're not getting any younger. If you don't hurry, all the good ones will be taken. Looking at my mom's weary face, I didn't want to provoke her further, so I just pushed her hand away. It's not that I'm not cooperating, it's that they're not interested in me. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. You know, I can't be without a man for a second. You. My dad was so angry he forgot to yell at me. The moment I got in my car, my dad started chasing me and is honking his horn like a maniac, determined to personally drag me to a blind date. My head was buzzing the moment my car hit the median. I even thought, if I die, I'll finally be free. But a second later, I hated myself for that thought. What a morbid thought. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital room. A doctor was standing by my bed explaining what to watch out for. He said I had hit my head and might experience headaches and memory confusion, but it would all be temporary. My fingers twitched and they were immediately squeezed tight. I was always alone when I was hospitalized. Did my assistant hire a nurse for me? A familiar voice spoke urgently by my ear. You're awake, how do you feel? Why was it Liam? Seeing the worried look on Liam's face, a crazy idea popped into my head. Honey, is that you? Hey, the doctor said I hit my head and might have memory problems, right? It's fine as long as I'm not embarrassed, someone else will be. Liam froze. Before he could react, I sat up, threw myself into his arms, and started sobbing. Honey, I was so scared, I thought I'd never see you again. Liam looked at me at a loss for words. With tears in my eyes, I looked up at him mournfully. Why aren't you hugging me? Liam's gaze softened. He wrapped his arms around me, stroked my head, and comforted me gently. It's okay, you're safe now. My performance was cut short short, I was just getting ready to really lay it on thick. Wait a minute, why is my nemesis playing along so well? Something's wrong, definitely wrong. My parents walked in just in time to see this scene. I hugged Liam even tighter, shrinking into his arms in fear. Honey, who are they, honey? My dad's temper flared, he stormed over furious. What's going on? Since when do you have a husband? Do you have any respect for me as your father? I almost rolled my eyes. Liam stopped him. She was just in an accident, the doctor said she needs to rest, please be quiet. My dad was used to being the head of the house and cared deeply about his pride. He pointed a finger at Liam's nose and yelled, I'm disciplining my own daughter. Who the hell are you? This is our family business. Liam sneered. My wife said she doesn't know you, please leave or I'm calling the police. You dare? From the hospital bed I shakily pulled out my phone. Hello 911, there are some strangers here claiming to be my family and they're threatening my husband. I'm so scared. Seeing this, my mom couldn't sit still any longer. She rushed over, pulled my dad back and started crying. What nonsense are you talking about, dear? Your father is just worried about you, afraid you'll be deceived. Marriage is something parents should approve of, and you child suddenly having a husband without a word, without a proper wedding, you're the one who will suffer in the end. We raised you with so much care. Because Liam and I were always at odds when we were kids, our families rarely interacted. Plus Liam's family moved abroad right after high school, so it was normal that my parents didn't recognize him. I touched the bandage on my head and decided to play dumb. What are you talking about? I don't know you. My head hurts. I started grabbing things from the table and throwing them on the floor, screaming and having a complete meltdown until my parents were too scared to speak. The commotion brought in nurses and doctors who escorted them all out. Turns out if I'm crazy enough, they can't do anything to me. Now Liam must be completely convinced I have amnesia. So does that mean I can use my new wife status to openly ask for a baby? That night Liam took me home with him. After a few days of recovery, I felt I was ready. That evening I boldly climbed into his bed. The moment he lay down, my hands snuck into his pajamas and started exploring. His muscles were getting more and more defined. Looks like all that working out paid off. I could barely contain my grin. How did I get so lucky? Liam turned on his side and pulled me into his arms, his chin resting on my forehead. His voice was lower and huskier than ever. Honey, stop messing around, go to sleep. That single word, honey, almost made my knees go weak. I purred in a syrupy voice, but honey, I want you. He suddenly grabbed my hand and placed it on my stomach. Honey, you forgot you're pregnant. I looked down at my flat stomach. If it weren't for the fact that you use protection every single time, I might have actually believed you. So what on earth was this vow he had to fulfill next month? He was willing to say something like this just to avoid sex. I suspected my nemesis was doing this on purpose. Really, you're not kidding? A smile played on Liam's lips. Of course you're going to be a mom. Are you happy? Me? He kissed my forehead. Good girl, go to sleep. I didn't get a bun in the oven, but I was suddenly in prenatal care mode. Liam, you are such a dog. So that's the game you want to play? Fine, let's see who's the better actor. Every night I'd set an alarm and wake up demanding a midnight snack delivery. Wouldn't do. Pregnant women are picky, you know. So I'd kick him awake. I want barbecue. Liam would glance at the clock, squinting at me. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Are you sure you want barbecue? I'd flutter my eyelashes innocently and play dumb. I don't care, I'm hungry and the baby's hungry, figure it out. Liam would drag himself out of bed with a weary look. Fine, I'll go get it. When he came back with the barbecue, I'd start my act again. Honey, barbecue might be a little hard to digest at night. Let's have seafood congee instead, something light. Liam, honey, don't you love me and the baby anymore? Liam gritted his teeth. Fine, I'll go get it. For the next couple of weeks I lived a life of absolute bliss. Liam, on the other hand, the daddy-to-be, looked a little worse for wear, running around for a non-existent baby. He was working so hard. Every time I saw him looking so exhausted, I'd lean in close to his ear, my eyes welling up with fake tears. Honey, you're such a good father. Then I'd hold his handsome face and admire it carefully. Liam would smile and cup my face. It's no trouble, the mommy has it much harder. Kisses for my wife. He'd give me a couple of pecks that almost knocked me senseless. In the afternoon I had a meeting with my team from the studio. I didn't expect Liam to come home so early, so I had to hide in the bathroom to coordinate with my assistant. When I finished the call and tiptoed out of the bathroom, Liam was leaning against the wall watching me with an amused expression. Done with the act, honey? What are you talking about? I immediately pulled up a live stream I had prepared and showed it to him. I was just watching a live stream. Then I put on a pitiful face. I was just looking and I have so few clothes here at home. Does that mean you don't love me anymore, honey? Liam's expression didn't change. How could I not love you? You forgot, baby, we're newlyweds. We just moved into this house, so we haven't had time to buy everything yet. Without another word I added a bunch of designer items to my cart and sent him the link, giving him the chance to clear it for me. I sat back waiting for him to bulk, but he paid for everything without even batting an eye. He even asked with a serious face, is this enough? The next moment Liam transferred a few $1,000,000 to me for spending money. Something was starting to feel very wrong. I was about to make a run for it when Liam suddenly pulled me onto his lap. His tone was overly sincere. Honey, there's something I need to confess. A chill ran down my spine. I felt like I was being watched. What is it? We were planning to get our marriage license before your accident but it got delayed. Look, we have a baby on the way now. Shouldn't we find a time to make it official? Me, Liam, do you hear yourself? You don't have to take it this far. I just want to get pregnant and run. Liam rested his chin on my shoulder and said slowly, grab your ID, let's go today. What, how about tomorrow? I froze, not daring to move. I thought Liam was going to mess with me again, but he readily agreed. Then let's go pick out wedding rings today. My sense of unease grew stronger. The moment the ring slid onto my ring finger I was in a daze. Liam couldn't possibly be serious about marrying me, right? That night I didn't dare to sleep while Liam was asleep. I grabbed my things and tied him up. Operation Get Pregnant and Ghost could not be delayed any longer. Any more delays and I'd be roped into this for real. Chloe, don't you dare. I could hear the immense resentment in Liam's voice. I shut him up with a kiss to ease my conscience. I covered his eyes with a blindfold. It wasn't easy. It took 3 whole months, but this time it wasn't for nothing. I hope all that working out Liam did pays off. 1 shot, 1 kill. When it was over I didn't even dare to look at Liam's face. I just tried to run, but my legs gave out and I collapsed onto the floor. By the time I stood up Liam was already behind me. He picked me up, threw me back on the bed and pinned my hands with one of his while holding my waist with the other. I couldn't move, trying to run. His gaze was murderous. Chloe, did you have fun calling me honey for the last 2 weeks? I started to explain. I just got my memory back right now. Liam looked down at me so my voice was as quiet as a mosquito. So we probably can't get the license tomorrow. Then when are we getting it? What, it's over. Liam actually has feelings for me, doesn't he? I was even more certain of it after Liam accidentally let me see the wall full of photos. He'd been plotting this for a long time. The huge floor-to-ceiling window was covered with my pictures. He didn't even spare my ugly childhood photos. The nerve. There was even a complete series of me beating up that jerk of a childhood friend. Well, what's with this photo of the 2 of us? Did he have a colleague secretly take it? TSK, who knew Liam was such a closet romantic in high school? Liam appeared behind me at some point. You found it, didn't you? Tell me there was an easel in the basement? Why else would I have come down here? Could you be any more obvious? He gently wrapped his arms around my waist. I know you only got close to me to have a baby and leave. My heart lurched. Wait, how did he know? It's over, it's over. I was bracing myself for his anger, but then Liam just nuzzled my neck pitifully. Can't we just have both? That sounds like a confession. Before I could even process my shock, he continued. You know I'd be a good father. So that's the whole story. I was lying on the sofa feeling as lifeless as a month-old fish. If he didn't mind, your plan to have a baby without a dad would have worked. But based on the current situation it looks like your future baby's father is very eager to be responsible. As Maya spoke she suddenly grabbed my right hand. Wait, you're already wearing a wedding ring? Are you just here to rub your happy relationship in my face? Her words made me notice the ring on my finger. An image of Liam putting the ring on my finger flashed in my mind. His hands had been trembling. I could still feel the strange flutter in my heart from that moment. I'd eaten a bit too much fruit, so I went to the restroom and ran into Liam and Leo standing together. I was about to walk over when I heard Leo say smugly, you must know by now Chloe was only after your jeans, you little traitor. I saw Liam pat his shoulder. I don't know if she wants my jeans or not, but thanks for the idea. We do have a child on the way. Wait, I'm pregnant again. He held up his hand showing off his own wedding ring. Oh, and we also have a pair of wedding rings now. We'll be sure to invite you to the wedding. Leo was completely stunned until he saw the equally dumbfounded look on my face. He immediately ran over triumphant. Even though he knew I'd heard everything, he deliberately asked again loudly, Chloe, Mr. Collins says you two have a baby together. That's not true, is it? Liam looked at me, a flash of panic in his eyes. Chloe, I walked over, took Liam's hand and looked at Leo. Yes, it's true, we have a baby. I gave Leo a kick. What are you staring at? Congratulate me. Leo's heart completely shattered. Bonus Chapter 1. The first time Liam met Chloe he completely offended her. He stepped on her little dress, causing her to fall flat on her face in front of everyone. The pretty little girl's knees were all scraped up. Liam apologized profusely, trying helplessly to help her up, but the little girl scrambled to her feet, tears streaming down her face, and gave him a shove that sent him sprawling on his butt. At that moment Liam had only one thought: how can she still have so much strength when she's crying that hard? Later he went to apologize with a new little dress he bought. Chloe's eyes were glued to the pretty dress, and she generously forgave him. Back then they were still friends until he accidentally discovered her father's secret. From that day on Chloe started to hate him. They didn't see each other again throughout middle school. It wasn't until they ended up at the same high school that they met again. He recognized her instantly. The once feisty little girl was now beautiful, bright and sharp. It made him feel a little timid, but he secretly hoped she still remembered him. Just as he was about to approach her, a boy popped up beside her offering her flowers and bubble tea. He announced loudly, what are you looking at? Chloe is my fiancé. Liam's first thought was, is Chloe blind? All right, he admitted it. He was heartbroken. He was jealous of that idiot. The next moment he saw Chloe toss the bouquet into the trash. Liam felt a renewed sense of hope. This heartbreak could wait. Liam was still nursing his secret crush when girls started confessing their feelings to him one after another. He told them he already liked someone. He vaguely mentioned that he liked someone like Chloe, but the rumor mill turned turned it into Chloe having a crush on him. After that, every time he ran into Chloe, she would generously give him an eye roll. Liam was crushed. One day when he was delivering a message to another class, he saw Chloe beating the crap out of that cheap idiot of a fiancé. He wanted to help, but it didn't look like she needed it, so he silently stepped aside and filmed her heroic feat with his phone, kicking over a desk, smacking him with a book, grabbing his hair and teaching him a lesson. Chloe hadn't changed, she was just as fierce as ever. Later, due to family reasons, Liam had to move abroad with his parents before finishing his senior year. He wrote a love letter and asked a classmate to pass it on. A week later, as he sat on the plane to America, Chloe still hadn't given him any reply. Liam flew to a strange new country with his unrequited love. It was 5 years later when Liam met Chloe again. After a business meeting, he spotted her in a male model club across the street, a guy on each arm. Chloe recognized him. She proactively exchanged contact information. The second time they met, Chloe threw herself right into his arms, seducing him with fiery passion. Liam admitted it, he was bewitched until he found out that Chloe only got close to him to have a baby and leave him. Chloe knew he had a crush on her, yet she used his love to play him for a fool. In a fit of anger, he left for Chicago. Liam planned to get his head straight before breaking things off with Chloe. But the very next day, Chloe came looking for him, and she still thought his crush was her deskmate. Liam finally understood where things had gone wrong, so this whole time Chloe thought he was just after her body. To prove himself, Liam decided to pursue a pure old-fashioned romance first. As long as she didn't get her baby, Chloe couldn't run away. Bonus chapter 2. It's been over a month since Liam and I got together. Now that the pressure of having a baby and running away is gone, I've completely relaxed. But my boyfriend, the one who wanted to pursue a pure romance, is now having a crisis. To boost his appeal in my eyes, he started hitting the gym wearing cologne and constantly tempting me with his formal wear. Damn it, this devious man.